Welcome to Greek 2. In today's lecture, we're going to begin in Dr. Black's book, chapter 10, where he talks about the perfect and pluperfect active indicative, and we'll go all the way to chapter 15, which is aorist and future passive indicative, and we're going to do 2, 3, or 4 exercises out of those exercises under each chapter, altogether maybe 30 some what we're going to do today. And hopefully it'll help you put all this together. Now, this is about the time in first year Greek that students get a little overwhelmed because there are so many paradigms. And all of a sudden they're learning about perfect and pluperfect, and the pronouns are easier to understand, but then present middle and passive indicative and perfect middle and passive, future middle, imperfect. I mean, it seems like so much is coming at you. So sometimes it helps in mid-course to stop and just kind of walk through this. There are also several videos that we have posted from previous Zoom lectures interacting with students, and I've used them before, and it helps students because a lot of times we have questions that other students have asked. I have already answered them, and so it helps. But this hopefully will also help you in doing your Greek exercises and translating. So let's start with this one. This one is coming from chapter 10, which is focused on perfect and pluperfect active indicative. Let's do a couple of these. Let's do the first one, which is found on page 78, which is exercise 76. Let's do the first one, which is Ake Kwamen Tain Alethean. Ake Kwamen. Ake Kwa, you find that on page 78 under second perfect active indicative principal parts. The first one is I have heard. So we're talking about Amen, right? That's we have heard the truth. We have heard aletheon, object, the truth or accusative. Let's do another one. This time, let's go to number 5. Okay, let's go to number 5, and then maybe we'll do number 13, which is kind of a long one. So let's look at number 5, kind of a long statement here. Gegraphamen logus aletheas diatein agapein hemon huper to apostolou. So let's break it down. Let's start with the first one, gegraphamen. What is gegraphamen? If you go back here, same, second perfect active indicative, gegrapha, I have written. So gegraphamen would be we have written, okay? We have written. So we're talking about the perfect. Remember we talked about how perfect and pluperfect and how the aspect works, so keep those things in mind. So we have, written, gegrapha, grapho is to write, gegraphamen, we have written, logos aletheas, the words of truth, logos, os oi eoi on us, so it's a plural, accusative. We have written words of truth. Dia is because. Tein agapein hemon, which is because of our love. Okay. Huper is for. It can also be by or under, but here is for the apostle. This is singular, okay? Not apostles, apostle singular. Next, let's go to chapter 11. This is the chapter on demonstrative pronouns. Let's do 4 of these here. Let's start with the first one, which is Houtos ha apostolos genoske ekenon ton apostolon. So, Houtos ha apostolon. Houtos ha apostolon. Again, this is a demonstrative. Houtos, haute, tuta. This is the male. This apostle, ginosko, to know, ginoske is a third person singular right here. Ginoske is a third person singular. This apostle knows. So this is just your regular present active indicative. Ekenon ton apostolon. This apostle knows that apostle. Okay, very simple. Again, these statements are just exercises that Dr. Black has made up, so don't look for them in any Greek text, New Testament. Here's number 4. Haute. Remember, hutos, haute, tuta. So if hutos was a male apostle for this apostle, haute would be the female. Okay, female gender there. So haute eke erenein ente cardia autes. So this woman has, echo is to have, eke, remember, this is your third person singular, feminine. So this woman has, erene is peace, ente cardia autes, in her heart. So autes is that pronoun. So in her heart. Okay, moving along. If you go to, there's a quick remark here on page 66 in case you are wondering where we got the personal pronouns from. This autes, you'll find it on page 66 of Learn to Read New Testament Greek by Dr. Black. And that's where you have the personal pronouns. Let's do another one. Number 17 in this same chapter. This one is long one. Eistain autain ekkilesian egagen ha petros tutos tus tuflus tus agathus. So let's break it down. Into eistain autain ekkilesian. So if you go back in this chapter where those demonstratives can take on the idea of kind of like that reflexive into the same church. So this demonstrative pronoun, has the article with the article. So in the same church, this is a subject. Peter, egagen. Egagen is coming from ago, to lead. This is on page 56 of your Greek textbook that you can see. The very first one on page 56 under second aorist active principal parts. Egagon is I led. So egagen is Peter led, third person singular. Peter led tutos, these, okay, blind or good, agathus, blind men. These good, right? These good blind men. Okay, so hopefully that helps you understand how to translate that. Let's do one more. This time let's go to number 19. Again, a long statement here. Let's tackle this one. Haute. So that should right there, give you some clue there. Haute estin he hadas tanatu Kai hamarthias kai poneroi agosu ta tekna auton es autain. So, haute, this estin, remember our old estin? Remember, Amy is to be, estin, esmen este esin. So this is, third person singular, the way of death, and hamarthias, not just sin. Hamarthios would be, there's a singular there, hamarthias, and evil men, it's plural, right? Evil men and evil men lead, agusi. This is again coming from our ago, to lead. Present active indicative, very simpler. This right here is coming from our ago. Agusi, the noon is dropped off. Okay, the noon is dropped off there. So, third person plural. Agusin, ta tekna auton es autain. Evil men led their children, teknon, children, plural, child is teknon, their children into it. So, it seems a little complicated. It is. But if you stop and look at the conjugation, it begins to make sense. Why this is present active indicative. And so is the present active indicative of Amy. And how this is different from this. You see the rough breathing on top, smooth breathing right here. Okay, so another one. Let's go to chapter 12 now. This is present, middle, and passive indicative. I did a video last week on the voice, and I emphasized the fact that the middle voice kind of stands on its own 2 feet. Active, subject does the action. Passive, subject receives the action. Middle is sort of, has the impact coming back to the subject, but really, truly, it's about the subject benefiting from the action. And so, we also talked about the deponent verbs and how this whole category is sort of fading away from the newer grammar books. And it's going to take some time because this category has been there for so long, but slowly but surely it is now being discarded. So I made those videos so that you can understand it and remember that if you go further in Greek. But let's move on to page 91, and let's start with the first one, which is luontai hoi douloi, hupa ton apostolon. Luontai hoi douloi, hupa. This is not hooper, by the way. 2 different words. Hupa ton apostolon. So let's translate that. Luontai is are being loosed. So they're present and middle or passive based on the context. Are being loosed. Who are being loosed? The servants, doulos, douloi is plural, are being loosed, hupa, by or under, right? It's different than hooper, by ton apostolon, by the apostles. And again, how hupa is used, believe it is on page number, I'll have it in a second here. This is in chapter 8. Okay, in chapter 8, page 59, you have Hooper. When it comes with the genitive, it is for. Keep in mind, this is different from Hooper. Hooper with the genitive is for, and Hooper with the accusative is above. Okay, so that's how it's translated. But Hoopaw, this one here, with the genitive is by, with the accusative, it's under. Okay, students sometimes confuse those, and I want to make sure that we don't do that. With the genitives, remember this is in the genitive case, on, that's a genitive, declension there. Hence, it is by. Okay, so keep that in mind. This is all found on page 59 of Dr. Black's book, Learn to Read New Testament Greek. All right, let's keep moving along. Let's go to number 6. Again, this is a long statement on page, back up here, on page 91, number 6. Let's read it first. Poneroi anthropoi doxazontai ala dikaioi anthropoi doxazousi. Okay, there's two different things that are happening here. Okay, same kind of words are coming, but different meanings there. Doxazousi, ton, theon. So let's begin with that one first. All right, so let's do this one, number 6. Let's read it first. Poneroi anthropoi doxazontai, ala dikaioi anthropoi doxazousi. Those are coming from the same words, but they are different tenses. Doxazousi, ton, theon. Okay, so let's take them apart. Poneroi anthropoi, evil men. Poneros is evil, anthropos, you should know by now, evil. Both of them are in the plural, evil men, not evil man. Okay, so we got that first thing taken care of. Doxazontai. Okay, let's find that in here. I think it's should be part of your vocabulary for this week. But doxazo is glorify. Zontai is the middle past, present middle indicative. So evil men glorify themselves. You see, the middle brings the nuance of benefiting. The subject is benefiting from this action. So evil men glorify themselves, but righteous men, that's again in the plural, just like this is in the plural, this is also in the plural, but righteous men, doxazousi, is present active indicative, unlike doxazontai. This is your same old osa omen ete usin. This is the usin, again with the new missing here. So doxazousi, ton, theon, they glorify God. Ton, theon, theos is God. Let's do one more. Let's go to number 10. Didaskontai, hoi matetai hoi kaloi ton logon aletheas. So, how do we translate this one? Didaskontai. Again, we're dealing with the passive here. and I don't think it's in this one, but didaskalos. But didaskontai, hoi mathetai, the disciples, hoi kaloi, the good ones, or the good disciples. The good disciples, didaskontai, are teaching one another. Okay, so one another the word of truth. Okay, the word of truth. Page 88. If you want to turn there for a quick second, I made a note there. If you look at the third one, the reciprocal middle is the use of a plural subject engaged in an interchange of action, as in John 9:22, the Jews were agreeing with one another. Usually, however, this idea is expressed by an active verb plus the pronoun allelus. Okay, so usually with allelus, but here you don't see that, but that's how it's translated. Okay, the plural subject makes it are teaching one another. It's kind of a reflexive, a reciprocal, but usually it comes with allelus. So make sure you look at page 88, number 3, about the reciprocal middle, to understand how to translate this one. This is a little tricky one, I'll admit, and sometimes students get a little frustrated and say, I don't see it. Where is it at? Well, you have to assume that it is happening, okay? Here's another one. Let's do one more. Let's do the next one, number 11, which is Hai pistai erkontai kai baptizontai hupa. Remember hupa ton apostolon. So this is number 11. Erkontai, again, your passive middle. Kai baptizontai hupa ton apostolon. So hai pistai, that's your feminine. So the faithful women. Hai pistai, faithful women. I hope you understand that. Os or hos is for for masculine. Hai is for feminine. So the faithful women are erkontai, are coming and are being baptized. Okay, omai eatai ametha este ontai. So the faithful women are coming and are being baptized by the apostles. By the apostles. Okay, again, remember that hupal with accusative and genitive. So here's the genitive, by the apostle. And just so you haven't forgotten, this is going back to page number page number 59 and number 6, which is prepositions with 2 cases. So here, hupal, when it comes with a genitive, as you can see, genitive here, it is by. So do keep that in mind. Often students forget that and they go, are being baptized under the apostles. No, it can't be because it's not in the accusative. Here's another one. Let's do number 18. Let's do several of these, okay? So hopefully it will help you understand this better. So, sozentai, number 18. Let me pull that up here as well. Sozetai he piste, sozetai, sozo, to save, sozetai, he piste hupal tu kuriou autes. How do we translate this one? This is number 18. So again, the faithful woman. How you say? Why not a man? Feminine, and it's singular. Okay, it's not high. It's he, which is the singular, feminine. So the faithful woman is being saved. Sozetai is being saved. So you have your present passive here. By the apostles, by her, kuriou, Lord. Kurios is Lord, by her Lord. Genitive, okay? This is genitive. By her, the pronoun there, by her Lord. Okay, moving along to, let's do number 20. That's a long one. And let's do number 20. So what do we have here? Apostoloi kai prosiukontai hooper. Remember, this is hooper, not hoopaw. Hooper, apostolon kai euangelidzontai autois. So let's begin. Apostles, that's plural. Apostolos is singular. Apostoloi, apostles. Kai prosiokontai hooper kai. The apostles and praying something? No. The apostles both. Okay? Both pray. The apostles both pray. The apostles both pray. And hooper, again, our same pronoun shows up here. For hamarthalos, for sinners, and kai, euangelidzomai, euangelidzontai, and preach the gospel. Euangelidzomai is preaching or evangelize. Preach the gospel to them. Okay? And so page 31 in Dr. Black's book, he addresses this thing of having this here. It says on top of page 31, Roman numeral 3, if you can see that in Dr. Black's book, page 31, Roman numeral 3. Greek does not have a conjunction meaning both. Instead, kai. Instead, this kai is used as in emi kai huios kai doulos. I am both a son and a slave or a servant. Kai may also be used adverbially, in which case it is translated also or even. So make sure you take the time to go to page 31 to refresh this both and way of translating. So let's go to chapter 13 now. This is the chapter that covers perfect middle and passive, future middle indicative. So let's begin. Let's do the first one. First ones usually are simpler. So here you have the first one. Dio hoi douloi leluntai hupa tu kuriou. Dio is therefore. This is a vocabulary word that you need to memorize. So we have therefore the servants, hoi douloi, doulos is singular douloi. Therefore the servants have been loosed. This is, again, you should know this by now, as many of these are coming from luo, to loose. Leluntai, have been loosed. Hupo, by, to kuriou, the genitive, by the Lord. Okay, very simple, easy one. But let's go to number 3. long one here. Hagar Messias kalos erketai, kathos gegraptai peri autu entais hagias graphais. So let's begin with the first few letters here. Hagar, God is for the Messiah. Okay, this is a tough one. Okay, this is a tough one. Number 3, for the Messiah, kalos. Turn to page 94 here. On page 94, section 90, under the adverbs, you have this sort of explained. Okay, I'm trying to get you to understand how kalos gets used. So Dr. Black explains, an adverb is a word that qualifies a verb, which we should know by now, an adjective or another adverb. In the sentence, immediately he called him, the adverb immediately qualifies the verb called. Some adverbs are formed from adjectives by substituting sigma for noon at the end of the genitive plural. For example, from kalon, which is the genitive plural of kalos, is formed kalos, which is rightly or well. So please, in your textbook, read that section 90 on page 94 in this chapter number 13. If not, you will horribly translate this, okay? So make sure you get that. And once you understand that, then you go, oh, it makes sense. So for the Messiah, rightly, okay, or well, but rightly is, of course, smoother, better way to translate that. For the Messiah, rightly, erketai comes from erkomai. Kathos is just as it has been written about peri concerning him in the Holy Scriptures. That's the rest of it is pretty simple, but the kalos, this whole exercise is about kalos, the adverb. Okay, another one we should attempt. Let's go to number 5. Simple statement, but we need to make sure we don't confuse this one because it's got a lot of little things stuck in there. Starting with this one. Lusometha tous doulos tous agathous. So let's start with the lusometha. Here we're dealing with this future middle. The sigma should sort of, alert you that something else is happening there. It's future, but it's future first plural of luo. So we will lose, tous doulos, but since it is in that future middle, we will lose, we ourselves will lose. Since it's future, remember in the middle, I made a separate video just for this reason, to help you understand that middle voice is tricky. It's about benefiting. So we ourselves will lose. And the rest is pretty easy. Doulos, tous agathous, the good servants or slaves. But the real deal here is that future middle. We ourselves will. Okay? We ourselves will. So it's future will, but ourselves is coming because of that middle voice. Okay? Let's go to number 7. Number 7 is again a good one here to focus on. Simple statement. Hoi dikaioi blepsontai ton kurion. Hoi dikaioi. So hoi immediately tells you we're talking about the subject, but it's in the plural. The article tells us that. The righteous men, dikaios, righteous one, righteous men, because of dikaioi. Same thing happening as the previous one, blepo, right? Blepo is to see. Blepsontai, we're dealing with, again, a future middle. The righteous men themselves will see. So there's an intensive that is happening, the nuances of the intensive. And again, take your time to look over this in coming from page 93. So the righteous men themselves will see. See is not a problem, except with being future middle, that really stops us from translating it any other way. We'll see the Lord. Okay, let's do the last one. Let's do number 11. It's a long statement, but let's tackle these big ones, because if we can get the big ones, hopefully a lot of different things are being covered in them. So here's the big one. Ude, it should right there from the get-go kind of alert you of the no not, okay? Ude hoi apostoloi didaxontai tein alethean hate erkontai eis tein ecclesian. So, not even, okay? So, we're dealing with not even the apostles. Didaxontai, this is again the future middle that is happening from didasko to teach, but it's the intensive. Not even the apostles themselves will teach the truth, erkontai, hate, when they come to the church. Ace into the church. If I was just translating it, I probably would have just said to the church, but more accurately, ace is into. So into the church. Erkontai coming from erkomai, to come. Okay, so that's that. Let's go to chapter 14. Chapter 14 is dealing with imperfect middle passive, aorist middle, pluperfect middle passive indicative, a lot of different categories coming. And as I mentioned to you originally, this is where students get a little frustrated and they go, oh, I don't know if I can take this anymore. This is too much that is happening. And yeah, it is a lot, but that's partly why Greek is not easy, and it takes years. And, sometimes we want to learn these languages now. It takes years to truly master them. We can begin to understand them. We can be exposed to them. And first year Greek is exposure. And then beyond that is mastery. So let's do the first one here, which is hoi gar logoi tu prophetu egraphonta ento biblio. Okay? So gar should alert you right there. For the words of the prophet, egraphonto, is again coming from grapho. So egraphonto is your imperfect third plural. Okay, were being written ento biblio, in the book. So the main thing here we're dealing with is this grapho. Graphonto is your imperfect third plural. Okay, so hopefully that will help you. Let's do number 5. Number 5 is a good one. And in the Zoom lectures, we have covered more when I was working with the students, but hopefully this will also supplement and maybe cover things that may have been missed in the previous lectures that I took from Zoom. So here's one, number 5. Ta daimonia pontate exebaleto ento logo tu kriu. Ta daimonia pontate. Pontate, always, we know that much. So the demons, daimonia, that's plural. So demons were always exebalo. This is coming from ekbalo. Two different words, out, throw. These are two words that are kind of put together to maybe even say cast out, okay? So the demons were always being cast out or thrown out by the ento logo tu kuriu, by the word of the Lord. So it is singular, by the word of the Lord. So page 62 covers this whole ekbalo thing. And then page 83, I made some notes on that sometime back, covers that demonstrative pronoun and how to handle that. So make sure you look at that. Okay. Page 83, on the bottom, additional neuter nouns of the second declension. This part of the vocabulary. Okay, let's keep moving. Let's go to number 7. We'll do 3 more of this one, just so we can get more examples under our belt. So here's one, euthus, eutheus, immediately. Gospel of Mark uses a lot of these. So let's begin with that. This is number 7. Euthus hoi matetai elusanto tus doulos tu dikaiu anthropu. So immediately, we know that's what euthus is. The disciples, hoi matetai, plural, nominative there. The disciples, elusanto. So here we're dealing with this aorist, okay, third person plural. So elusanto. The disciples themselves loosed, since that remoteness happening, loosed the servants of the righteous men. Okay, so if you go to page 99, Dr. Black covers that, how these imperfects and aorist middle are used. So make sure, take some time and go to the top of page 99. Plenty of information there on how to translate this in the imperfect and the aorist middle. Okay. Moving along, let's do number 9. Edometha ton kurion kai epistiosamen and auto. So, edometha, edon, to see, okay? Edometha, we ourselves saw, okay? We ourselves saw the Lord, and epistiosamen, and we believed in auto, in him. Okay, this is not very difficult. Do one more, number 12, the last one on page 101. Here it is. Ha kurios ein. If you remember that imperfect of Amy, Amen, Es, Esta, En, Amen, Emetha, Ete, Esan. So this is your imperfect indicative happening here. So the Lord was near, imperfect, was near, but Allah is but. He was not eblepeto. He was not being seen by his disciples. By his disciples. His disciples. Okay, and again, keep that hupa, that preposition, and how it's used with the accusative and the genitive in mind. So that's number 12. So let's go to chapter 15. This is a chapter where we covered aorist and future passive indicative. Aorist and future passive indicative. Let's look at about 4 or 5 of them. Hopefully that will help us. And also in the Zoom lectures, I had the students translate them and then I went over them. But here we're going to do it again. And hopefully it will supplement what possibly was missed in those Zoom exercises. So here's the first one. Hoi mathetai edidaktesan hupa ton apostolon to Kuryu. So we know hoi mathetai is the disciples. Edidaktesan, this is your first aorist passive indicative, third person plural. You find that on page 102. So if you go back there, you see how that is being translated. First aorist passive. First aorist passive. So e didakthesan from didasko. So the disciples were taught by the apostles of the Lord. Okay? The disciples were taught by the apostles of the Lord. Let's go to number 6. Number 6. Number 6. Ace el thomen. Remember Ace el thon? Ace el thon is to kind of like went into. So Ace el thomen, we went in ten ecclesian into the church, and a baptist themen, we were baptized. Again, these are your aorist passive. Okay, aorist passive indicative. Nothing future here yet. Right? So keep that in mind. What happens to the future? If you want to know how the future passive works, then go to page 104, and there you have the first future passive, and then you have the second future passive. Again, the first future has the theta in there, but no e augment. And the second future does not have the theta. Again, no e augment, because that's only reserved for the aorist. So 2 different things, but they're both passives. One is aorist, one is future. Again, the e augment having e prefix, okay, or in Greek, e prefix makes it aorist in these cases right here in chapter 15. Going to, let's go to number 7. Let's do the very next one, because it's also a good one to learn from. En ekene te hemera, akustesatai ha logos to theou. En ekene te hemera. In that day. Hemera, if you ever go to Greece, I'll be going there soon. Kalamera. Hemera is day. So in that day, akous thesatai, first future passive indicative of akuo. Okay, let me write that down here for akuo. Aku thesatai. In that day, will be heard the word of the Lord. Smooth it out. In that day, the word of the Lord will be heard. Go to number 14. It's a long statement. Might as well do this one. You should find some similarities here, some resemblance to the New Testament text. Phone ekouste. Let me change that here so you can follow along. Phone ekouste ente eremo. Remember, eremos is desert. Eremu kai akouste setai ente ge. Ge is earth. So a voice was heard. Ekouste is again is a first aorist passive. Again coming from akuo, but is first aorist passive. So ekouste was heard in the desert or wilderness, and akouste setai, this is future passive. So one is aorist passive, the other is future passive, but both of them are coming from akuo. One is aorist, one is future. Will be heard in the earth. The rest is pretty simple, but those are two. And if you look at them carefully, it seems like, man, there are two different words, but they're not. They're same words, same stem, but one is aorist, another one is future passive. Let's do one last one, number 15. Number 15, it's a good one again. Apestelesan, hoi angeloi eston cosmon. Apestelesan, coming from apostello. So we're talking about to send, right? Apostello, we get the words apostles from. So apostelesan were sent. Who were sent? The angels. This is your subject right here. The angels, os, oi. This is plural. The angels were sent, eston cosmon, into the world. So hopefully going through these exercises will help you. And some of these I've already covered in the Zoom, and I've covered more there, but I'm doing them again over here to help you think. And remember, these paradigms have to be memorized, or really you need to pay attention to what's happening. Is there a trick to memorizing them? There's only so many tricks. After that point, it is word memorization. You have to. There's no other way. And even in advanced grammar, you have to do this. So yeah, there's this morphemes and this and that. Massive books have been written on the morphology of the Greek. But if you're going to wait till you go into the morphology of the Greek in order to do first year Greek, then you're already in second, third year Greek, because those kind of subjects are for advanced level. You say, why don't we do this in the first level? Why don't we spend a lot of time on morphology here so we can do that better then? I wish you could, but to understand morphology, you got to have a basic understanding of Greek, and then you can break down the words, and then you can see the future time morpheme and the aorist morpheme and all these kind of things. So this is the hard road, first year, and the second, third year. If you stick with it, if you're diligent and keep working on it, that's when it all begins to make sense. But it doesn't make sense today. It'll make sense later. You have to work through this time to get to that place. That's what I had to do, and that's what's a lot of people who went on to second, third year Greek, or even went on to do PhDs like myself, had to learn. So hopefully this review of these chapters and exercises may help you move forward in Greek 2.